So there's the G, but I don't know what the other notes are because I need to know what the related major is in order to figure it out. So I know it's the 5. It's the 5 mode, right? So how can I figure out, well, now I'm getting closer to going forward would be easier than going backwards, right? Because I'm on 5, there's only 7. So I can say, well, I'm on 5, 6, 7, and then 1. So I need to go 3 modal half steps up to get back to Ionian. So if I know my shape from the 5, guitar-wise, I could say, well, there's 1 modal half step, 2 modal half step, 3 modal half steps, right? Now, how many distance in actual half steps or note half steps? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So I would need to know the shape in order to see that it's only 1, 2, 3 modal half steps up. Otherwise, I'd have to use some other method to kind of figure out how many steps up in order to know what the major is going to be. Again, what would it be the nice way to say it this? You'd say, hey, look, we're on the set of notes that are based off of the C major, but the tonic is going to be the 5th, in other words, the Mixolydian mode of the notes, 7 notes destinations of C major. Most people don't do that because, again, they're trying to show off, they're trying to make you look bad by telling you as little information as possible, see if you can figure it out. So now we're going to say okay, we're on Mixolydian. So now it would be easier to go forward than backwards, most likely, right? So now I'm on the 5. What's the formula? Well, it's whole. It's whole, half, whole. To get to Mixolydian, I want to get back to the Ionian, so I'm going to keep going forward from Mixolydian. It's a whole step to get to the Aeolian. From Aeolian, it's a whole step to get to the Locrian. From Locrian, it's a whole step to get to the Ionian. What's the distance then? It's going to be from the Mixolydian to 4, 5. So it's a 5-note distance, right? So let's go back on over here and say, all right, this time I'm going to go down first, right? So now it's 11 plus 2 goes to 12, and then back to 1 for the A because there's only 12 notes, and then 1 plus 2 gets me to 3. 3 plus 1 is going to give me to the 4. So we have a 2, 3, 4 distance. So notice from G to the major is going to be 2, 4, 5, which would be a 5-note away perfect 4th. But again, most people probably wouldn't be able to do that because most people are going to say, hey, look, I know my intervals from the major. So they're going to say, what's the distance from the Ionian or major to the 5th, the 1, 5 distance, which would be a 7-note away perfect 5th. So they would start at the G, and then you'd subtract 7 to get back to the 1, right? Which again is a lot easier to do if you use numbers, 11 minus 7, rather than trying to count back 7 from G and counting sharps and flats and whatnot, right? But you could do it. You're going to say, okay, it's going to be 11 minus 2 gets you to 9. If we do the whole steps and half steps, 9 minus 1 gets you to 8, and then 8 minus 2 gets you to 6, and then the 6 minus 2 gets you to 4. So that's going to be it. So again, what I would like to be able to do is say, hey, I know what the modal range is, a 5-1 modal range. It's going to be 2, 4, 5. It's a 5-note away, a 5-note away third modal half step, right? Because if I'm here 1, 2, 3, which would mean it's the 4th scale degree, 5-note away perfect 4th, right? I would also like to know the distance from the 1, 5 modal range, or the Ionian to the Mixolydian modal range, right? What is that going to be? It's going to be 2, 4, 5, 2, 4, 5, 6, 7. So the 1, 5 modal range is a 7-note away 4th modal half step, right? 1, 2, 3, 4, which would be, from a scale degree standpoint, the 5th 7-note away perfect 5th. All right, let's try one more, or 2 more. This is the most common one, the Aeolian. So they're like, hey, we're on Aeolian. Hey, we're on Aeolian. So we're like, oh, I know that one. I probably know that one. But I'm going to say, okay, well, there's my A, but now I need to know what the related major is. So if I'm on the 6, it would be easier to go forward. So 6, 7, 8, or 1. It's 2 modal half steps forward. If I know my shape, 1, 2 modal half steps forward. From actual half steps, note-wise, it's 1, 2, 3 steps forward, right? So if I look up here on my shape and I wanted to count it out, it would be easier if I'm on the 6 to go upward. So if I do my formula, I'm going to say in my head, it's whole, whole, half, whole, whole, and that gets me to the 6. So to finish it out from the 6, it's going to be whole gets me to the Locrian, half gets me back to the Ionian. That adds up to 2, 3, a distance of 3 from whatever my point is that I'm starting on. So we can go back on over here and say it would be easier to go forward. So I'm on the 1 plus 2 gets me to the 3. 3 plus 1 is going to get me to the 4, and that's where we are, right? So that's going to be the point, and so that's going to be it to get from the 6 to the 1, right? So what I'd like to be able to say is, okay, the modal range, the 6-1 modal range, the Aeolian-Ionian modal range is going to be 2, 3, a 3 note away, second modal half step, which would be the third scale degree, a 3 note away minor third, right? But most people know it, would say, okay, what is it from the major? The major, if that was the Ionian, what is the Ionian to the 6 distance? And then I would subtract it out, right? So if I'm going from the major, the Ionian, to the Aeolian, that would be a 9 note away major 6. So I'd have to subtract 9 from 1, which would give me -8 plus 12, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, which would give me 4. Or I can use the formula. So if I'm on the 1, I'm going back 2, gets me 1 back to 12, and then 11, because it goes around in a circle. And then 11 minus 2 gets me to 9. 9 minus 1 gets me to 8. And 8 minus 2 gets me to 6. And 6, finally, minus 2 gets me to the 4, right? So that's going to be that one. All right, let's do one more. No one really plays in Locrian, but we're going to go crazy with it, and we'll do it. We're going to do it here because we're crazy. We're playing Locrian. People just don't understand Locrian. It's like sharks. I've been watching sharks on my or you know the sea. I've been naming fishes on my which is kind of anyway. So, but they're misunderstood, he says. They're misunderstood. They keep on saying more people die from lightning than shark attacks. And it's like, yeah, but you have to measure the people that die from lightning in the water from shark attacks. These statistics they use are misleading, you know. Anyway, so now we're going to say, hey, they say we're on Locrian, which is the Locrian B. So they're on Locrian. We're like, okay, there's Locrian on the B. So now I'm trying to figure out, okay, what's going to be the related major so I know the shape that I'm in. Well, the Locrian is the 7, so would it make sense to go back to the 1 or forward to the 1? Because it goes around the circle. It makes sense to go forward because it's only 1 modal half step. So I just go from there to there. There's the relative major. It happens to be 1 half step in this case, as well as 1 modal half step. All right, so then if I go up, if I don't know that, then I can also say, okay, if I'm in the Locrian, I'm right there. It's going to be 1 half step to get to Ionian. So it's going to be a 1 note away minor second. Or I can try to go back the other way and count it up the other way, which is going to be a bit more of a distance, like an 11 note away major 7. So we're going to say, all right, let's go backwards. We're going to say we're going from the B, and I'm just going to go up 1 to, I'm going to go up the 1 note to get to the C. Boom. And so I would like to know then I'd like to know the modal range. So I would call it a 7-1 modal range, or an NI modal range, a Locrian to the Ionian modal range, which is a 1 note away modal half step, which would be the second scale degree, which would mean it would be a minor 1 note away minor second. If I go up the other way, people are going to say, okay, I only know my distances going one way from the major to the 7. So from the Ionian to the 7 would mean that it's going to be an 11 note away major 7. So if I know it's an 11 note away major 7 from this note, I'd have to say 3 minus 11, right, to get to the C. So that would be the long way to do it. But we can also do it by the formula. So 3 minus 2 gets me to 1. 1 minus 2 gets me to 11. 11 minus 2 gets me to 9. 9 minus 1 gets me to 8. And then the 8 minus 2 gets me to 6. And then 6 minus 2 gets me to 4. So the modal range of the of the 1-7 modal range, or the Ionian Locrian modal range, is going to be a 2, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, and 11 note away, 6th modal half step, 7 scale degree, which would be a 11 note away major 7. I know that's a long way to say it, but again, I'm trying to get the idea of the scale, the modal range leading into the scale degree, so that again, I want to use distances without forcing myself to change that. So I think that terminology helps to just use those scale degrees as distances, like whole steps and half steps, without having with just ignoring the third, ignoring the fourth, ignoring the fifth, because that's forcing me to change my perspective when I just want to measure distance. Okay, that's the idea.